Is voting hard? It seems like every couple of years, the Democrats in Minnesota roll out some grand new plan to increase access to the ballot box and make voting easier for everyone. My experience is that Minnesota already makes voting pretty easy. I mean, we have election day registration, which a lot of states don't even contemplate. You have to register 30 or more days in advance sometimes before you can get a chance to vote. So if you forgot to do that on election day, you're out of luck. Here in Minnesota, election day registration, vouching, you don't need any identification. It's pretty darn easy to vote. So what is it that Democrats are trying to accomplish when they roll out a bill like this year's House File 3? I'd say that what they're trying to do is fairly predictable, and it looks kind of familiar. I've seen these exact proposals before. I've seen it at the national level when Congress had House File 1. Their top priority that year was basically a national takeover of our election systems that would prohibit measures that are designed to increase the integrity of our elections, like photo ID, transparency, clearing the voter rolls of deceased people, people that have moved, things like that. Oddly enough, Democrats seem to have a tendency to oppose those kind of reforms. Minnesota's Secretary of State, Steve Simon, has gone so far as to call photo ID a draconian measure. I wonder if he falls into fits of righteous indignation over the inhumanity of it all when he gets carded at airport security. Draconian, he says. But I digress. Their idea of making things easier, as exemplified in House File 3, involves letting felons vote while they're still under supervision of the Department of Corrections, registering 16 and 17-year-olds to vote, automatic voter registration that's going to be combined with a separate bill moving parallel to this one that will give driver's licenses to illegal aliens that are present in Minnesota. So House File 3 is the bill that, among other things, aims to permit voting by convicted felons who are still under Department of Corrections supervision. It will radically expand the use of absentee ballots by automatically mailing them out every election cycle. This is an extremely insecure system that is guaranteed to pump up illegal ballot harvesting operations. Live ballots will be sent out en masse without voters needing to request them ahead of the election. This will result in loose, missing, and misaddressed ballots as people move and as people die. This will create literally piles of misplaced live ballots at college dormitories and other high turnover housing like apartment complexes. Automatic voter registration doesn't combine well for election integrity when mixed with the parallel bill that will be issuing driver's licenses to illegal aliens. So the automatic voter registration will assume you want to register to vote with every application you fill out when you interact with government agencies in Minnesota. Primarily driver's licenses, other forms will result in automatic voter registration as well. So this takes the responsibility away from the subject, from the registrant, to positively affirm, swear an oath saying that they're eligible and that they want to register to vote, and put that responsibility or onus on the government to register everyone automatically. So if anyone ends up registered that's not supposed to be, no crime, no foul, the registrant's not responsible. As I've said, it's already very easy to vote in the state of Minnesota, so this bill isn't really about increasing access or making it easier for John Q. public to go vote. What this is about is Democrats believe these changes will give them an edge in the elections. And don't you find it interesting that where they believe they will find an advantage is with the votes of teenagers and convicted felons, two groups of people not exactly known for making the greatest decisions. So it just so happens that I'm about putting the finishing touches on my latest book, The Voter Fraud Manual, which is exactly apropos for this very subject as it's being debated in the legislature. Now, lawmakers have a lot on their plate. They read and vote on 100 bills or more each session. They are not usually able to fully digest the subject matter of every subject that they deal with. So it's been my experience that they're not always as fully versed on an important bill as you might hope they are. So it's my goal to provide a copy of the Voter Fraud Manual to as many legislators as I can before this House File 3 comes up for a vote. And I'm asking for your help to do that. If you pre-order a copy of my new book, The Voter Fraud Manual, for yourself, I'll send you a hardcover special edition signed by me, personalized if you like, as long as you also sponsor a book to be sent to a lawmaker. So I'm making this offer available for pre-order for $40. 2 books. One goes to you, one goes to a lawmaker. You can order more if you want at my website, danmcgrath.net or electionintegritywatch.org. Thanks for listening to my pitch. Let's work together to squash House File 3 and work instead for a bill that would increase election integrity in Minnesota, something that we can find bipartisan support on, common sense reforms that will make sure generations going forward have faith and confidence in their elections instead of laughing at the absurdity of courting the votes of convicted felons and teenagers to try to come up with good government.